Hey, true believers. I know it's been a minute since we've been in the world of Roanapur, but I intend to correct that today. We're going over the third part of Black Lagoon, Volume 11. This series was called the Wired Red Wildcard. Try to say that 3 times fast. Now, to kind of catch you up, what's happened primarily, like the main gist of the last volume leading into this one, is Jane, Benny's girlfriend, hired Feng. She was a Chinese intelligence hacker to, basically she wanted to infiltrate a German bank, I think is what the premise was. But what happens is she uses Feng to threaten the Chinese government and use Feng as a patsy. So now Feng has no allegiance. She's had to flee to Roanapur because the Chinese government wants her dead. Jane's basically just made out like a thief. And Feng has come to the Lagoon Company for help. And she has 4 major hitmen on her. So this book is really focused on Rock, Revy, and Feng. And last time that we were going over it, Revy got arrested for getting into a gunfight with one of the brothers, because these 4 assassins are supposed to be, they call each other brother, etc., so forth, even though they look nothing alike. They're all of different nationalities. But I guess they kind of like served in a sense. That's how I kind of take it. So there was a major shootout. Feng was able to get the data that she needed, but one of the brothers and Revy ended up getting locked up. Now Feng needs an internet connection to be able to get to this bank where all this money was laundered from the Italians, I think it is, and the Armenians. And that's kind of what's been kind of going on with Roanapur. There's a warring between these 2 factions over their launderer disappearing. Now, why they're here at the police station, one of the brothers, he's very impatient, unstable, and I'm going to go break my brother out. And the other brother's like, this is a police station. What are you doing? What are you doing? And so Sainsak, he's kind of like the second in command to the main policeman who's on vacation at this point. And this is where we left off last time. Where he says, do I really need to remind you, and this is Rock talking to Sainsak, you have one hell of a gunslinger in your lockup. And I just love how whenever Rock's like in his zone, how all his emotion, his insecurities just fade, and we just get this very stern looking Oroku. Is that his name? Oroku Kajima? Something like that. But anyway, I just love how after all that you kind of get a moment of levity because Revy is just pissed. She's like, Rock, shit, get me out of here. Just get me the fuck out of here. By the way, Black Lagoon is not a book for the faint of heart. So if you're not into ultra violence or anything like that, I highly recommend leaving now. So I can't remember what the Redneck's brother's name is, but his brother is Park Seung, and he's the one that's basically destroying the police station at this point. Sainsak says if you can get rid of this guy, then you're clear. Revy, of course, gets her cutlasses. And right here, because the other brother, he's been really crude, like very nasty to her. And so while he's in the slammer still, she goes, hey, Cracker, thanks for the shitty dinner show. Next time, invite Barbara Streisand. Whoa, don't. Seriously, no, wait, I'm unarmed. And he's just like cowering in the corner. And Revy's just like, shut up! I don't care if you're unarmed, you tone-deaf piece of shit. You can sing till Judgment Day with that tone-deaf choir in hell. And just, damn, she just goes off to show just how unstable Revy really is. And why, in a sixth sense, you actually really enjoy her character. Now, this, what was his name? Seung. I keep getting the brothers' names messed up. Hold on a second, let me go back. Park Seung. This guy, the way he just goes in after the police, one-man army, RPGs, and then he just gets this whole Arnold Schwarzenegger moment of just coming in, destroying everything in his way to get his brother. But I guess he's going. He's like, Rob, hey bro, where are you? And while the police are cowering, I love how we get Revy in close-up. And then she's like, hey, numbnuts. And she throws this huge, I don't know if it's a trash can or something, or a coffee maker. It's some sort of coffee maker, that's right. Keep that in mind because it's important. I had to remind myself. But she's like, let's have some fun. And so she covers him in this coffee stuff. And I mean, look at the artwork. My God, that is some great dynamic angles as they go into a shoot-off. And this goes on for a few pages. Like when Revy's in the zone, just like with Rock, there's just no stopping. And she is one main machine. If you remember all the way back to, I think it was volume 1 or volume 2. And in the manga, it was like episode 2 or 3, where, what is it? One of the pirates takes a hit out on the Lagoon company, and they have like 4 or 5 boats going after him, and Revy takes them all out with a mini bazooka. It was intense. And just like with this, she's just laughing and goading this guy on that she just killed his brother, which makes him go just berserk mode. Which again, you think that Revy's just doing this with no thought for her safety. But again, even though she can be insane, there are methods to her madness. And while all this is going on, we get the moments with Fang and Rock, which add to the scene, but it is a little dry, which I will admit. These parts I was like, let's kind of skip over because you want to get back to this shit. You're just like, oh my God, just look at all those panels, all the different dynamic angles as these two are just ripping the crap out of each other. And as we get towards the end of the fight, we're going to skip some pages because there's a lot. This fight goes on for quite a while. Backing up here. Fang Sung here thinks that he's killed all the police, but Revy was actually goading him down the hallway. And the stuff that she shot him with was sticky, which got into a very hot gun, which locked it up. And so I like she leads into this elevator down the hallway. She ducks down, and they just basically obliterate this guy. And just leading up to this whole thing, you were wondering how the hell is Revy going to get out of this? And the way that the narrative moves forward, it just really adds to it. I don't want to ruin everything. I want you guys to read this. Now, lastly, the third brother. This guy I cannot remember, but he's a sniper. This is information they get from the ripoff church, which is Ada, and I cannot remember what her... she has a lackey now. I can never remember his name, but they said that we'll get this information for you, Rock, because... And if you all remember, Ada is actually a planted CIA here in Roanapur. But even so, she just really loves her life. And she's just about as unhinged as Revy, because we get this guy saying, I'm going to kill you for taking my brothers. And she just comes up on the roof, listening to Wild Thing, bat in hand. And I love how Rock... again, orchestrating all this. Cold, disassociated, and bam, there goes Ada with the baseball bat. And that's one thing about Black Lagoon that I've always loved, is both from the mangas, however you want to say it, and the animes, is each story kind of starts out slow, and it builds up as when you get to the end of it, it just becomes this crescendo of ultra violence. And that's what the latter half of this book essentially is wiping out all these brothers that were sent to assassinate Fang. Now, I want you to keep in mind, I said 4, they said there were 4 of them. We've killed 3. So keep that in mind. I almost forgot. But here Rock decides to save Fang from being assassinated by the Chinese government. So he wants to put her in a place of the Italians, becoming the launder, because what you find out about the launder that lost the money for the Armenians and the Italians here in Roanapur is their money stopped, and they are not happy about that. So Rock's coming again with solutions, because that's kind of what his job was before he went to the South China Sea, is he kind of solve problems for his company. And I can never remember the leader of the Italians' name, but this guy, he's a dude you do not want to mess with. Like, he's just about threatens Rock. But the only thing that kind of saves everybody in this moment where you just see all this tension building up is she says, I know where your money is, I know what happened to your launderer, and I can fix all this for you. And she goes, here we came here in good faith, Ronald. That's his name, Ronald. If you don't want to talk to us, you lose face and your money, and whatever honor you have gets lost in the darkness of cyberspace. So he thinks, even though he's just as unhinged as everybody in Roanapur, he knows a good thing when he sees it. However, being a crime lord, he does have to save face as he makes a deal with Fang. And he basically, where is it? Am I going to lose it? Hold on a second. Here. Grabs her by the hair and says, listen, Four Eyes. You leave my sight for even a second, and I'm going to test your head's durability with a bag stuffed with an 8-inch bowling ball. I don't hear you, Four Eyes. Fine. All right. Yes, I understand, Ronald. Say the words. You work for me. You need to show me respect. Hey, I haven't heard you say it yet. So Fang kind of understands the situation she's getting herself into, because if you think about it, she has no real good options. She goes back to China, she's dead. She goes anywhere else, she's dead. She knows that this is the only choice she has. She just goes, yes, I understand, Ronald. She has to plead guilty to this mob because it's the only thing that's going to keep her from dying. Good. Respect is important, especially in this line of business. Say one wrong thing and heads roll. Remember that. And it just shows that no matter where you go, like governments, mobs, and that's one thing I like about Black Lagoon, is it shows that even though there may be some degree level of violence, everything comes down to money, power, and respect. And it's sick in that sense, but that's one of the alluring things about Black Lagoon. And Fang kind of doesn't really understand why Rock's kind of distant, how he's saying, I don't owe you any money, just take it from her cut. And so she kind of understands that that she was kind of played by Rock, but he has to play the game because this is where he lives, and he has to keep the peace between all factions, because the Lagoon Company tries to stay neutral in all the stuff that's going on, even though they do kind of have a, what do you call it, a bias towards oh God, what's the Russians, Hotel Moscow, that's the name of it, which we haven't seen her in a while. I hope that she starts showing back up in the latter books. I can't remember her name either. Blonde chick, scar on her face. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I'm kind of glad again, after all this tension with the Italian mob, Revi has to go back and do a dance for the local pimp because she lost him money, so she said, I agreed to go on stage for him. So we come back, and this is one of the few times you see Revi like this, and you're just like, well, that's different. And she's bitching, she's pissed because her clothes are missing. So as she goes out to dance, well, actually, before we get into the dance, remember how I said Jane basically hung Fang out to dry? Well, she embraces who she is, Fang does. And basically, while Jane's supposed to be out on this romantic cruise with Benny, she obliterates her. It's kind of payback. Which, I like Jane, but yeah, that was kind of a shitty thing to do. But again, both of them live this world, and they know what can happen, and they both play the game. Both have gotten burned. Now I'm going to kind of cut past all this stuff with Fang because, again, I don't want to ruin it for you guys. What I do want to get to is, remember I said there was a fourth assassin? And I like the way how Revi kind of keeps an eye out in the crowd and how she keeps her cutlasses nearby at all times. What do I mean by that? Guys, I highly recommend reading Black Lagoon, Volume 11. It really shows how Rock has hardened himself from all the people that he's tried to be soft with and has gotten heartbroken over, or just straight tragedy. And even Benny says that you're more like a Lex Luthor character now. And so just seeing the evolution of Rock in this series has been interesting because, again, he was the one that kind of came in and didn't really know how to fit in. But it's scary how quick he's become a big name in Roanapur. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if they have these mangas in stock. If not, I found this one on Amazon, so I grabbed it, and I got 12 too. So if you all want to see Volume 12 reviewed, let me know down in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Lagoon bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.